bring to you today a revalue from eShop. Um, I spoke with Morris months ago, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, about setting up an event like this, and it took us a little bit of time to get there. But today we've got you with us. I'll let you explain more about what you're hosting or what you're presenting today. But I think it's of real value. So yeah, we're pleased to have you in the space. Thank you for joining us, and thank you to everyone joining us today as well. Yeah, I'll leave it to
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the introduction. Hello everyone. My name is Ari. I'm the co-founder at C eSharp, and we are a full-service design agency, and we are working with startups and businesses to work on design, and we are working on immersive experiences, and we'll be talking about design thinking and how you can elevate your business through design thinking by using it. Um, so this is our agenda. As you can see, we'll be talking about empathy and how to create an engaging vision, driving change, minimizing risks, and using data, valuable engagements, and then in end I'll conclude how design thinking can help businesses and what the process actually looks like. So before we start, I'd like to talk to the people here, and I would like to know about what is the opinion about design. So it would be good if you can explain a bit about what do you think, what is design for you actually?
I would say design means it's really explain the whole concept.
Which really explaining the whole concept. All right. Thank you. How about you? What do you think design is? What is your definition of design?
I mean, it's a way of explanation of what exactly you want to do, or
Yeah.
what you're actually trying to get.
Okay.
So, you want me to give you an example? What basically?
Yeah. For you, what is actually design?
Suppose if I want to, if I have an idea and I have a vision in my mind,
Hmm.
and if I want to design a car, and I have a very different, maybe that virtual picture inside my head,
Yes.
and how do I show it to someone?
Yes.
So I have to present it. Like, I have to create a virtual digital image to show
Okay.
to people. Like, yeah, this is what I'm thinking. It should not have 4 wheels. It should have 3 wheels.
Yes.
Or if it's not 3 wheels, it should have 6 wheels.
Hmm. So you have to draw to make your point, and
Exactly.
you'll call it a design, right?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. How about you? What do you think design is?
Anything that will make my life easier to be tangible or intangible,
All right.
or purposefully built to solve a particular problem.
Okay. How about you? Sorry. Thanks for joining us. Yeah. I'm asking, what comes to your mind when you talk about design, or just the word if you hear design? What do you think about?
For me, it's a structure, a thought, like how to express your thought. That it could be a technical architecture design or a like workflow design. So putting your thoughts into a picture.
Right.
To represent.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much for your opinions. Now I'll be taking it further to, for me, how I have understood design over my experience working with brands, agencies, startups, businesses, and we'll be talking about this. For me, it starts with empathy. So design is all about empathy. That's what I have learned and I have experienced. And empathy basically lives in the heart of design. So by empathy, I mean you have to put yourself into the shoe of your audience, your customer, your user, or anyone for whom you're building a solution, right? And this is a very nice definition that I've got for empathy: the ability to step into the shoe of another person, aiming to understand their feelings and perspectives, to use that understanding to guide our actions. That's by Robert Kant. Um, Now I'll show you a real life example how design thinking has helped different kind of industries and businesses throughout the world in different times. So this is an image of an MRI machine at GE Healthcare, and this is uh, this is one of the. I'll tell you a story of how this machine got evolved or revolutionized, how the design of this machine got revolutionized by design thinking and thinking about empathy and how empathy can lead you to something else. So one of the head of the designs in GE Healthcare was working on this design. They have installed it in the hospital facility, and people started coming to the facility. Yet, just after a few moments, he experienced that there was a kid coming after from this laboratory for this scan, and she was weeping like a 7-year-old kid because she was terrified by the experience of this machine. By looking at this machine, she was like, "What am? What is going to be here?" So, by looking at this, oh, by looking at this, the designer of the machine was uh, very much concerned, like the actual audience of who will be using this are terrified by the experience that he has created, right? So he went back to his work, he discussed it with the team, and then they reworked to create an adventure series out of these machines. And they call it like the pirate ship. And they have created like a series of these designs because they wanted to create an experience for the kids who would love to go and have this scanning, right? It would make them immerse with the experience, like they walk on the floor like it's a something is happening. There's a very nice background, and they have like come up with this idea, and they have created a lot of these experiences from different facilities, as you can see, right? So this person is called Dom Diaz, so principal designer at GE Healthcare, and almost 80% of the kids before were going bad and terrified by the experience. But after he applied this design thinking to the whole process, it became very easier for the kids to go and go for scan. So that's empathy. Now I'll take you through how you can actually make actionable points for your company, your business, um, and whatever service provider you are. You can observe the real users. You can interview them. You can engage with extreme users. You can create customer journeys. How like at each point your user or customer is interacting with the product or service you are creating, and then you create a group of personas. You collect all the attributes, all actions, and you create personas out of it, and that's how you apply uh, actual empathy and how people will empathize with your service or business or product. So this is how I have understood how design thinking and empathy play a major role in driving your business strategy. So when you talk about creating a brand or creating a product or working on your customer experience, service experience, it all starts with empathy. So you first understand the people, the problem, opportunities, and then you define your business strategy according to it. You don't define your business strategy before, and then you come to empathy, and then you talk about how the brand experience will be, how customers will engage with the brand, and then your service and product, and then comes UI. Normally, I have observed like businesses, they think about design as a pixel, uh, a pixel thing, which only relates with graphic design, right? But I think that's not all. It's way beyond that. It's not just on the screens. It starts from the very first impression of your brand, of your uh, customer, and then you take through different stages and you define. So design is not just a design. I have this spreadsheet. It's a conscious process of shaping and organizing various components to bring about desired outcomes and results, and to create an experience out of it. Design is also an engaging vision. What do I mean by that? In a fast-paced world, we are we are stick to something. Uh, it could be a mission, or a brand, or a product, and by the time you take like 10 years, 20 years, you stick to one thing, but you don't realize as a business or company that things have changed a lot. Nokia is one of the examples, and there are so many other businesses that were not able to keep up with the innovation and technology that is happening by time. And so you need to identify when to enhance your business and when to innovate the meaning of your existing business. And you can do this um, by doing two things. You innovate your meaning and you do storytelling um, for that purpose. So by innovation of meaning, I mean thinking about sustainable transformations, community building, talk about technology for good, narrative evolution, and education, empowerment, women empowerment, social impact initiatives. So when you connect with all of these different large scale purposes, your brand will eventually become more relatable to people as you understand it. So I'll give you um, a few examples. So this is one of the ways where you innovate the meaning. Another way is the storytelling. Um, and storytelling is one of the uh, very old ways of communicating with humans, right? So we'll come to that. This is one of the examples how innovation of meaning has been seen. Tom's, as we all know, like this is a shoe brand, but they are they have created their mission to give a pair of shoes people in need. So every time you buy a pair of shoes, another pair of shoes will be given to the people who are in need. So that's one example. There are so many brands that are working on this innovation of meaning. By doing that, they are more relatable with what's happening now, right? And it also applies that the brand cares not just about their product, they care about the community. So they do the online campaigns like without shoes, people would come out without shoes on the streets. just to relate and empathize with the other people who are not able to get the shoes. Now we'll look at one example of storytelling. We'll see a small video, um, and we'll see how storytelling works. It's Google's video, but it's a it's a way of communicating what Google actually stands for, and we'll see how it works.
To the families and friends of the victims, we'll do everything we can. We are remaining strong. No matter what we're going through, we still have to push forward. Are you ready to shake up the world? Taking out the gloves to realize we're all in this together. I'm asking that you guys join and mobilize with me.
I will say it right now out loud. Me too. Me too. Me too. Me too. The things that make us different, those are our superpowers. Go out there and conquer the world. Because the world will not be as big as you are in.
Okay, so this is an amazing way to tell your customers, your audience about what you really stand for. And storytelling is one of the most important and amazing aspect how you connect with your audience. This is how you convey your vision to your audience. And Google does this every year when they launch the video called Search in Here. And with each uh, year, they connect with the events that are happening in the movement. Design is also about change management, and often companies do not really understand or think about how to manage change efficiently, because um, design thinking is all about change and managing it properly. And when you define most of the companies, when they are in the process of change, they don't acknowledge how things are moving far and beyond, and they are not able to process the change. Although this is one of the major impact like that you can play around with. And I'll show you another example of how change making can innovate the industry or uh, in business you are. We'll have a look at an example for Bill Back, if you already know or not, but this will be another short 2 minute video.
Did you know 150 million Americans take medication every day? So each person has to stand in line at the pharmacy, sort their pills, and remember to fill their prescriptions over and over and over. That's why we created PillPack, a new kind of pharmacy We sort your medication by date and time and deliver it directly to your door.
But I take different kinds of medications at different times of the day.
No problem. We organize your meds for you, so now you don't have to waste time sorting your pills.
Sure, but can you do vitamins?
We can add those too. But I hate paying for shipping. Well, you'll love PillPack. Our service is free. You only pay for your medications.
And you take my insurance.
Yep. We work with most plans.
And you handle all my refills.
We work with your doctors to get you your medication every month.
What about my inhaler?
We're a full-service pharmacy, so we can handle your inhaler and any other pharmacy items. Every day, people across the country are saving time and staying healthy with PillPack. Switch to a simpler pharmacy today. PillPack, an Amazon company. Did you?
Okay, so we have been witnessing pharmacy and we have been using medicines for decades, but no one has ever thought like when you grow old, you get to have like multiple medicines at a time, every day, every month, every year, and PillPack actually revolutionized the way how people use medicines, right? So it's a new way of looking at the pharmacy. That's that's what change does when you apply the change in a manner that it enhances your user experience. It enhances your the way you look at your business and your industry. So driving change is one of the major things that you should um, be looking for when you're in any kind of business. And this is one of the most important thing in design thinking process. Then design is also about minimizing risk. And how we do this in design is we do it through rapid prototypes. Most of you must have heard about these terminologies. And in rapid prototypes, what happens is like um, you create a design file and prototype, and then you test it with users before building anything. So it's just a design thing, and with less effort, less time, and less expense, you can test your product beforehand. And it's not only related to digital applications or it happens at a scale at so many different companies. And one of the major examples who put design trends at scale was Lego. Um, they have in 2017 they have completely stopped their production for 2 months or more than it, and then they run around 60 design sprints in those 2 months just to see like what they. I was listening to the interview of the person who was doing the workshop, who was hosting the workshop, and he said like we were running like a train, and it was not possible for us to stop that train because it's a production line, and you have to deliver at timelines. So we had to stop all of those actions, and we had to redefine how we want to vision our company in the next few years or decades. So that's why they stop. They bring in all the people from different teams, engineering, product, design, and they run design sprints at scale, and they still do it at scale. This is how a design sprint looks like. You, in first stage, you understand the problem, then you sketch solutions, then you decide on the best solution, then you build a prototype and test it. And this can be like, depending on the scale of your business, this can be done in a single day, or this can be done in a week time, depending on how complex the problem is and how you are going to solve it. Normally, at this stage, people from different departments come together. It's not just design people who come and host a design sprint. People from different backgrounds. That's actually the because of design sprint, because people from engineering team, people from design team, product team, marketing team, sales team, everyone comes together like the heads of the departments, and they first understand what the problem they are dealing with. Because for all of them, this problem could be in a different manner. So first they understand this, and all of them then sketch the solution from their point of view. For me, the solution could be different than what you will do, and likewise with everybody else. So then you decide like which solution is the best one, and then the prototype according to the finalized solution. Um, who else works on design sprint? Every tech giant and every successful business does this. Design is also data informed. Um, we all know Netflix. Netflix has one of the best and innovative thing to deal with data, and they base their business basically on data. So how they do it? They do it in many ways. Like there are different kind of rankings and data sets that they analyze as a team, and then they work on it, like personalized video ranking, similarity ranker, predicting algorithm, continue watching ranker, and like there are so many things that they A/B test during the launch of any episode or before, like you are watching a particular kind of genre, and you'll see the similar kind of artworks, and then they analyze all of that data to bring about what their next production will be or what their next interface will be. And they are doing it very successfully for many years now. Next, I'll be talking about intangible. So we often see design as very tangible thing, which is like what you see in a physical space. You look at your mobile phone, you look at your web browser, or you look at your computer, like whatever is in the physical space or tangible space, you consider this as a design. But we need to also understand that design is also intangible. And it refers to the process, like overall process, as I was talking before. It's not just the outcome of the one thing that you deliver. It's the whole process from the very beginning to till the end. And I have one very known example of Starbucks for uh, to talk about what intangible actually means. Because in 2007, during the crisis, businesses were shut off. There were so many things happening, and people were not coming to the cafes, and they were reluctant to do that. Starbucks interviewed like hundreds of coffee drinkers, and they were asking one question like, "What is you seek from this coffee cafe or coffee shop? What are you actually looking for?" And to their surprise, most of them were not even concerned about coffee at all. They were looking for a place of relaxation. They were looking for a place of belonging. They were looking for a place to to relate with, basically. So Starbucks actually worked on it very seriously, and they initiated, like we all see roundtables in Starbucks. There's a very uh, specific uh, variable to it. Like they have did it on purpose just to have the solo people who are coming to the cafe. They should not be eliminated from the overall audience. They are more concerned about whoever is coming we'll give them a personalized experience, so that they can feel comfortable while sitting having a coffee. And same goes with they do not call the orders by order number or things like that. They call it by your name, just to personalize the experience more and make the audience more comfortable sitting there. You know? So that's about Starbucks. And now just have a final closing look at how design thinking works. So in the define stage, you define your scope. Sorry, you start with the empathy, you empathize, you learn about the audience, you observe, listen to them, ask questions, and then you start to define your scope. Look at the patterns that you have got, questions and assumptions. You frame your point of view about the problem and about the solution, and then you start ideating what you actually want to do. You experiment with different options. You co-create with team members, as we have seen in design sprint example, and then you prototype. You learn from users. Then you test with users and evaluate and reiterate. So this is a linear process. It goes and iteration, and you have to do it, you know, again and again until you find your desired result. Uh, this is just a closing thought. If you think a good design is expensive, you should look at the cost of that design. And thank you for your time. If you guys have any questions for me, I can answer.
A question.
Yeah.
So you explaining to everyone, so the empathy and the brand story, the brand strategy, even though the market strategy is what you say, and the customer experience, and of course when UX and UI. So these all are covered by the design process.
Yes.
So is the business model also part of the design model? Like what product is solving the problem? That's the business model.
Yes.
So say the business model also depend on the design process.
Yes, that's correct. That's what my point is of making this like. That's why I'm getting very vocal about when whoever is running a business, whoever is working on any kind of idea and they have any business, they should think of design as a strategic partner and not just a graphic designer. It's not like it doesn't work like that. So if you look at if you look at all big companies, there are like Google is one of the examples, Netflix is another example. You name it, right? They are like Airbnb. They revolutionize how people book, stay places. And design is one of the major thing throughout the process of creating the product. So you empathize with the audience, you identify the problem, and then you come about what opportunities you have, and you build upon it. Yeah.
So obviously, some people or businesses would have started down a certain route and said, "Oh, this is the design we want to go for."
Yeah.
Have you got any, or are there any telltale signs to say that we need to reevaluate this, or should it be on like a time basis, like reevaluate it every quarter, 6 months, year, that your design is displaying the right messaging,
Yeah.
it's portraying the right image that you want, or is it just a feeling, or is there something that might come from feedback that you say that trigger that business to look at the design that they have?
That's a very nice question. Actually, you have like so many ways to evaluate your design. First, you start with the right process. Like you talk with the audience before building anything, right? For example, I'm trying to solve. Take an example of Kareem, for example. They are solving for people who want to navigate from this point A to point B, right? So first, they need to understand who will be using the service most. Like, is it the people who are going for work? Is it the people who are staying at home? Is it the people who own? So once you understand that, Then you start, identifying the gaps, and you trying to put yourself in the shoe, and then you build something. Once you have built that product or solution, then you go back to the same user group, and then you test it with them if this solves their problem or not. And it happens in like it starts with small groups. Like you can talk with um, 5 people. You can talk with depending on how much the scale is of your product, and then you evaluate it accordingly. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, so it's like a constant journey.
Yeah,
Release something, then you review it, and that might
yes,
improve something.
definitely. It's a constant journey.
And then also, like we just spoke about UX and UI. Should they be done simultaneously, or should you have a user experience design followed up and user interface design separately that are kind of done together, like, or should they be done at the same time?
I will show you again the picture I showed you in the beginning. This one.
Yeah.
So this is how I look at it, and it can be different for people. But the thing is, you start with empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You understand the problem, people. Then you define your business strategy around those learnings, whatever you have identified. Then you define your brand experience. What do you want people to think about when they think about your brand, right? What emotions should your brand voice about? What messaging you're giving to your. Then you design the customer experience of what actual customer experience would be like when you think about it. What will be the touch points? We call it in customer journey, right? And UI basically to answer your question, UI I think is the very last stage of design process. It comes way after you decide all the things. Then when you're about to create the final prototype of your thoughts, your learning, everything, then you come up with something called UI where you define, okay, this is the interface, how it should look like. But it goes along with UX because, as one of the members said, like for him to explain design, he need to draw something, right? So for most of the people, it works like that. So you do the sketching, but it's part of UX. But when you come to UI, you actually define like particular components, colors, typography, spacing, all of that, and that's how you sum it up. Anyone else? Any other
I'm
questions?
just a bit confused over here.
Yeah.
Because generally, when we have seen certain startups and the product comes first, and then the strategy and brand is coming around that. So
Yes.
how do you see that? I see
Okay.
like empathy as a vision statement or something like if they have the vision to solve the problem and moving on. I've seen practically it seems a bit like product comes first and then it's moving on.
Okay, that's the actual approach that I'm trying to convey, that it should not be like this.
Right.
Otherwise, so I I come up with an idea that this will be my product.
Right.
I create the product, right? Before talking to anyone, before empathizing with the audience, before knowing what's happening in the market, before doing anything, I have a product idea. I build the product. But that's not the way how it should be. It starts before. First, you need to understand for whom you are going to make the product. Otherwise, you'll end up creating a product which no one will use until you put your product in the right way, like which happens very rarely, until you have the proper research done on this is what exactly, or you're replicating another product. That's another debate. But if you're coming up with a new idea and you want to create something out of, because what is actually a product? It's a solution to some problem, right? So first you identify, then you build something on it. It will work and it will be successful. Yeah, make sense?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Is there like you have to get some uh, tools for that to help start for analyzing this?
We we don't have tools, but we have a team who can help businesses in doing it in a proper way.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
With this life cycle that you are explaining me,
Yeah.
let's say I'm not a product owner. I have a customer and we are getting into it. Is this process not costing me too much? And is it not confusing my customer? I'm going back to him or I'm engaging him in the whole design process and somewhere my cost will increase. So I feel like
I
I mean
did not get your question. Can you?
um, I have a customer.
Yes.
I'm doing an ad for him, right?
Yeah.
And if I'm going to engage somebody like you are, expert in the market,
Mhm.
is it not increasing my cost and I'm engaging my customer a bit too much? And I mean, following this whole life cycle thing.
This is not a life cycle.
I see the cost is going high following this step. Yeah.
Yeah, it will
Is
go
a life
high.
cycle, no? You're doing everything, your
Yes.
strategy, and then you're again doing it after a bit. Each
Yes.
brand would rebrand itself in a while. So
Yes.
for me, it's like life cycle that is a less cost efficient in my terms. So
Yes. So I think I have already answered this in my last slide, if you remember. If you are not comfortable with the cost of good design, you should look at the cost of bad design. So um, this is how I see. For me, it is the most optimal way to look at the product or solution that you are going to offer. And it's not about really about time, right, or cost. It's about being in the right mindset. So whenever you are offering a service, you first think about who you are building. That's what it's all about. You get my point?
yeah,
Yeah. So you first um, can I ask like what kind of business and product
let's
you are?
say some kind of um, uh, you can say a rental thing. Let's say
Okay.
you're renting cars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have a customer
Hmm.
who is telling short on the budget in every meeting. So I don't want you to go back there and talk to him and then make him rethink and say, eventually they'll say, what the hell? I'm stuck in.
Yes.
Every time they see something, they like it, and after a couple of days they say, oh, can you do this? So it's a never-ending thing in that sense.
Yeah.
There should be a way to present and optimize the design and say, that's it. If you like it,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. Otherwise, one, two reviews. I mean,
Yes.
there should be an end of game, end of the year. So once you've done it, otherwise we'll keep spiraling in this thing.
No. I see your point.
My point is to be cost efficient here.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's not always going to be my own product that I'm going to do. For that,
Yes.
definitely no problem. But
Yes. Yeah. I definitely agree with you on this because if you are a service provider and you have a client, you know, who are coming, it's it's not always the case when they agree with all of this, right? They cannot, So, but you as a business owner, if you are providing service which relates with product or UI UX or service design, any kind of, you should just keep in mind that whatever solution. So maybe it's very difficult to for the customers to make this understand, and you're right, it will increase the cost and all of it. But when you're starting a new project, a new customer, or you're dealing with a new person, you can start with them, right? So just to put things in place, first thing first, when customers is coming to you, you say, who is your audience? What are we building for? And you can do it very quickly. It's not a lengthy process. It's like as your product grows, you start with the MVP. It will hardly take like 1 week time. Then you can identify everything, whatever is happening.
and how we are going to present it to the customer is going to be something like Figma XD or some kind of thing where
Yeah,
we
yeah,
are
yeah.
global and how we see it. I mean, you're not going to definitely make a whole thing.
Yes.
So, what delivery method would suit you? Figma or these kind of tools? Or?
Yeah, Figma you can use. You can even use PowerPoint. So you just have to research on what will be the audience, and you create personas, right? once you have those personas, you can tell the customer that these four are my target audience, and I will be keeping these four people in my mind while building this solution. That's how you start with it, and then you create customer journey. For example, one of the user is, let's say, a school going kid, right, who would use your solution. So you, while building the product, you keep that persona in mind. What will be happening for this person in that time while he's interacting with you? Makes sense? No, I'm very.
I get the point. Yeah.
Yeah. So for example, I'll give you an example of Kareem again. So I'm going to the office using Kareem, right? And I am the persona who is going to use Kareem as an application for writing. So meanwhile, when I'm designing for the person who will be using Kareem, I will also keep in mind that when I'm in office, there are so many things that are happening. The temperature is 40 degrees. I might be going in some other meeting. I might be in rush. There will be a traffic on the way. There will be a waiting time for my captain to arrive. These are all different scenarios which you can only come up with when you think about the persona. Otherwise, you build the product, you cannot process all of this information, on your own. Once you go into the customer's shoe, you think about, okay, I need to think about uh, this point as well while working on that. That's what I mean. Any other questions?
I have one.
Yes.
So you just further elaborate on the bad design, like who will say my design is bad, or I'm just trying to prove the point whoever is not going through this process of design is bad. What will be the cost of a bad design, and how you're going to tell me it's a bad design?
It comes with data and testing. So that's what I'm saying. Like normally what happens is like you create a product, you test it with the team members, or you even don't test it at all. So and you launch the product and it's not working well, and you are not able to identify what is really wrong. So that's why it's very important that you create a solution you test with the actual users who are going to use it. And there are multiple ways of doing it. Prototyping is one of the things that I have already discussed. You create a prototype before building anything, and you test it with actual users. That's how you can identify very early in the design process stage before you build anything. Uh, an example of bad design could be a lot. Like actually, design is also merged with innovation and how you think about it. Like technology is moving forward. Uh, Nokia is one example. Um, there could be a lot of them. Yahoo is another example. Like Yahoo was not able to keep up with where Google was going. There could be a lot of things, but user experience is another major thing that plays a very important role in that.
So the bad design can mislead the whole product, whole business.
It's a user experience, right? So it's the whole experience, how you understood the problem, how you define your solution, and how you go about making the product on those levels.
It's interesting when you say that because, like, for me, I'm thinking about food ordering apps, right? Here we've got delivery, we've got Free, we've got Talabat, we've got Zomato. There's so many,
Yes.
and actually ultimately which I choose to go down is depending on whichever I feel is the easiest to use at the time. And there's ones that I know in my head I don't use because whenever I go on their app, I'm just like, oh, this is
Yes.
all over the shop. It's not what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
If I search for something, it gives me a dish on the restaurant. Do you know what I mean? So it's like just because the design is poor,
Yes.
it pushes me away from their interface. And
Yeah.
and once I'm gone, I
Exactly.
build a connection to another platform. That's
Yes.
very much there.
Yes. Exactly.
So last question. It's the whole structure.
Mm.
So I want to understand I think everyone wants to understand. Who will be the empathy and who will be the business strategy tracks in UI? Who is the right person to do it? Because when we talk about the design, it's should come part of a design of the UX director, UX designer. But product design and customer experience, who is the right person to do it? If you're building a product, which team do you need to input taking on product?
So that's a very nice question. So have you heard the term about design ops?
Design ops?
Design ops. You have listened to the term called DevOps. Yes. Okay. So there is a new terminology called design ops. But um, it's not really about design. It's you just need to identify the person, or if that person is in your team, who are ready to empathize. So it could be anyone. Like it could be a sales guy, it could be a engineer, it could be a marketing person. Whoever is able to really understand the customer, the user, like because oftentimes what I have witnessed is like people are so much into their heads they cannot come out. Right? That's where the problem occurs. You have to have a person who can who can take out their shoes and bring on like the customer shoes. Only then they will be able to see. Like for example, we have seen this example, right? This guy, he already created this machine, and it was installed, it was working, people were coming. But what made him change the way it was just one little girl. He saw her crying, and her parents were worried how she will get into this machine. And then he came back to the team and designed this. That's what it's all about. You have to be very you have to go back to your table and think about what that other person. So he was when he was working on this design, he was thinking about that little girl who was weeping because she needs to go to this machine and she was terrified of the experience. He made it very enjoyable and comforting, and he mentioned further like after he implemented this, kids were able to come back to this. Like they were talking with their parents that we need to come back here tomorrow. So that's what design is all about.
Anyone can design.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks so much.
Thank